I'm a big Warhammer fan, man. Big Warhammer fan. I don't have money, so I don't have anything
Warhammer
related
40K
to it.
is coming to our
But I'm a big
screens
fan.
soon. Warhammer 40K is coming to our screens soon. At some point in the far future, Amazon, Henry Cavill, and Games Workshop are coming together to bring us a live-action adaptation of one of the biggest.
Bro, he looks like Titus, bro. Henry Cavill looks like Titus. I love this.
Strangest fictional universes that's ever been created. If you're new to 40K, but maybe you've got friends that are into it, you've probably heard things like
The Emperor protects.
Yep.
For the Imperium.
For the Emperor.
Blood God.
or maybe even there is only war. And you probably have absolutely no idea what any of that means. So in this video, we're going to break down the sort of essential Warhammer 40K lore pieces that you'll need to know in the build-up to this show. We're not covering every faction,
Tell me, man.
every Primarch,
Tell me.
every codex, every war demon, novel.
I wanted to know what the fuck is happening in Warhammer when I first got into it. 4.5 घंटे की एक वीडियो थी भाई. 4.5 घंटे की. I watched it. And I didn't learn shit in it, bro. I just understood the Emperor is a primordial or some kind of thing. It's basically he can't die. Or basically if he dies, he will come back alive in a newborn. But it's the same thing. And he is like present in multiple times of our human history. There was an age of war from AI. So they all left AI, and that was the great extinction which almost broke the Imperium. And then the Imperium started after the war from AI or war with technology. And उसके बाद क्या था? And after that war, the crusade, no, not the crusade, the unification happened. And after the unification there were Primarchs, जो एम्परर के बच्चे हैं सारे प्राइमार्क. और उसके बाद उन सब प्राइमार्क्स ने फिर एम्परर के खिलाफ लड़ाई चालू कर दी. और उसके बाद हम हैं अभी 40K में, आफ्टर द वॉर एंड आफ्टर एवरीथिंग. एंड स्टिल एवरी फार फ्यूचर में इस यूनिवर्स के furthest future में भी सिर्फ war ही war है. So that is what I understood after 4 fucking hours, man. It is so deep. The lore is so big, man. So yeah, I need to know what I have to know before watching the Amazon show.
Timeline history, we're just purely covering the foundation.
Okay.
What is Warhammer 40,000?
Okay.
What is the Emperor?
Okay.
What is the Imperium? Why
Okay.
is everything so
Okay.
awful? What are
Yep.
Marines? What
Yep.
is chaos? And why does this universe feel so different to all of the sci-fi settings?
Yep.
Right,
Yep.
let's get straight into it.
Show me, bro. Tell me. Tell me.
So Warhammer 40,000 is set in the far future, roughly around the 41st millennium. That means we're not talking
41st millennium, which means 40,000 years in far future. Okay.
a few hundred years from now. We're literally looking tens of thousands of years into the future.
Exactly 40,000.
Mankind has spread across the stars. There are human worlds scattered all across the galaxy.
Yep.
There are vast fleets, ancient machines, monstrous alien empires, gods born from emotions, and wars so huge that entire planets have to be sacrificed without most people ever even knowing their names. But this is not an optimistic future.
Okay.
At all. It's not Star Trek. Humanity has not become enlightened, peaceful, rational, or united by noble ideas. Instead, humanity has built one of the most brutal regimes imaginable, the Imperium of Man.
It's capitalism late stage.
Warhammer 40K is very simple.
It's a late stage capitalism. Everything which is not ours should be ours, and we will go to war for it. That is capitalism late stage is Warhammer 40K.
The grim darkness of the far future.
And I love it, man.
Only war.
Yeah.
It's not just a cool tagline, it's kind of like the mood of the entire setting. Now, 40K is a universe
Sisters of Battle.
Faction out there is either fighting to survive, fighting to conquer, or fighting because they are just religiously compelled to do so.
Yep.
Perhaps they're biologically designed to fight, or fighting because they are literal demons from some kind of nightmarish dimension. Now, obviously, this world was born from the setting of a tabletop game, so there have to be reasons for all these different armies to want to fight each other. That's kind of it. But there's no peaceful center to the galaxy. There's not really even a good guy. The whole galaxy is pretty much just on the verge of total collapse.
Yeah,
and
true.
Right in the middle of all these horrors is humanity, the Imperium of Man. Not as shining heroes like we like to see ourselves in most sci-fi futuristic settings, but as a dying empire that's become so fanatical and paranoid, and in a way so cruel that survival in itself has become a kind of damnation. The Imperium of Man is the largest human empire in the galaxy. It spans roughly 1 million worlds, though even that number is more symbolic than exact, because the Imperium is so vast, so bureaucratic, and so ancient that it often barely even understands itself. Some planets are advanced industrial worlds covered in factories. Some are medieval feudal worlds where people barely understand that the wider galaxy even exists. Some are hive worlds where literally billions of people can live crammed into towering city structures filled with pollution, crime, religion, labor, and pure misery. But most of them don't know that there's life outside of that. Some are shrine worlds dedicated entirely to worship. Some are death worlds where simply surviving the local environment is an achievement. All of them, in theory, serve the Imperium. But the Imperium is not a nice place. It's authoritarian, religious, militarized, and brutally oppressive. It controls people through fear, faith, ignorance, and endless war. Most citizens are taught that the Emperor is divine, that obedience is sacred, and that doubt...
The reason why these people are half human, half tech is because they cannot trust AI anymore, because AI almost wiped out humanity. So what is the best next option rather than AI is fucking intelligent being itself, which means a human who has done something or he is just unlucky and now they are servitors. That is what I know.
Very dangerous to their lives. And this is one of the things that Amazon definitely has to get right. The Imperium often looks heroic. Its soldiers carry big epic banners. They wear huge, oversized, shining armor. Its cathedrals stretch up into the sky, covered in skulls. And their armies fight against
He has to put that in.
Demons. So they have to be the good guys, right? No, it's also kind of terrifying. They burn heretics.
Yeah.
They suppress the general public from gaining knowledge.
Yeah.
It feeds millions of its lives into endless wars that they have no chance of winning. It treats human life as a resource, essentially. And it will just destroy an entire planet if it believes it's too corrupt or far gone to save.
Yeah.
When people say that humanity are the good guys in
That's
Warhammer,
what I have learned.
you could only make that true in the loosest possible sense, because how can someone that does all that be considered good? They are human, they are often fighting against worse things, and as individuals they can often be heroic. But overall, the system they serve is so massive and just monstrous. And it's that tension that's kind of the central feeling of the entire setting. Now let's talk a little bit about this so-called divine emperor of mankind. At the heart of the Imperium is the Emperor of Mankind. He's one of the most important figures in all of Warhammer lore. He is incredibly powerful. He emerged from ancient human history and eventually sought to unite humanity under his rule. His vision was vast, a united human empire, free from superstition, strong enough to survive the horrors of the galaxy and capable of mastering its own destiny. But by the time of Warhammer 40K in the 41st millennium, that dream has kind of become a nightmare. The Emperor is not walking around leading armies anymore. He's trapped on the Golden Throne, a vast and ancient life-supporting system
for 10,000 years, man. That's crazy.
Earth, where his body is broken and it's remained there for 10,000 years. But to the Imperium, he's not just a ruler, he's worshipped as an actual god, which is deeply ironic because during his life, the Emperor actually fought really hard to try and wipe out all religious beliefs.
Yeah.
The Imperium ended up becoming the exact kind of religious empire that he hated and he fought to
wipe
eradicate.
out. Yeah.
That's exactly what he wanted to avoid.
Yep.
Every day, countless people pray to him. Wars are fought in his name, entire planets are ruled through his worship, and the state religion of the Imperium, the imperial cult, treats him as the divine savior of mankind. But yet he is still extremely necessary for the survival of, well, It's pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
The Emperor's power helps guide humanity's ships through the warp, which is a nightmare dimension used for faster-than-light travel. And without him, the Imperium would likely collapse even faster than it already is. So the Emperor is both a corpse and a living god. He's the foundation of the Imperium, but also the symbol for everything that went wrong. And if you wanted to paint Warhammer 40K in one image, it's kind of that. A dead emperor worshipped by a galaxy-spanning empire, holding humanity together from a golden throne while everything just burns around him. Now, to understand why everything is the way it is in the 41st millennium, we have to know a little bit about the Horus Heresy. Set 10,000 years before the main 40K era, the Emperor created 20 superhuman sons known as the Primarchs. The Primarchs were not just his generals, they were demigod-like beings, each designed to lead one of the Emperor's Space Marine legions during a massive campaign called the Great Crusade. The goal of the Great Crusade was to gather all of the scattered worlds of humanity under the Emperor's banner, or into the Imperium. And for a time, it was successful. The Emperor's army spread across the stars, human worlds were brought into the Imperium, alien threats were destroyed, and the Primarchs became living legends. But then Horus, the Emperor's favorite son and War Master, fell to chaos. If you don't know what chaos is, the easiest way to explain it would be it's like turning to the dark side, but a bit more demonic. Now, if just one Primarch fell to chaos, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. There's 19 good Primarchs still. The issue is Horus wasn't alone in the fall. Half of the Space Marine legions turned against the Emperor.
9
brothers
of them
fought against brothers and Primarch against Primarch. The galaxy was completely torn apart by civil war. That is the Horus Heresy. It's basically the fall of Lucifer, the fall of Rome, and a galactic civil war all fused into one enormous piece of tragic mythology. Eventually, Horus led his forces to Terra itself and attacked the Imperial Palace. The final confrontation ended with Horus dead, but the Emperor was mortally wounded, and this is what placed him on the Golden Throne. It's kind of why the Imperium feels like a massive empire at the end of its peak, after its golden age, if you will. The dream of the Great Crusade died 10,000 years before, and what remains is a decaying system built around the memory of that dream, fighting endless wars it can never truly win. Now, if there's one thing that people really associate with Warhammer 40k, it's probably Space Marines. They're huge, hulking armor. They are that classic good guy image that you kind of expect to see in a setting of this kind. So what are they? Space Marines, or their in-universe name Adeptus Astartes, are genetically engineered super soldiers created from the gene seed of their Primarchs. They are not ordinary humans in big armor. They are stronger, faster, tougher, and longer lived than normal people. They are psychologically conditioned, surgically altered, and trained from a very young age to become living weapons. They are then divided into chapters, each with its own traditions, cultures, colors, heroes, flaws, and battlefield specialities. The Ultramarines are, the blue ones, disciplined and organized. The Blood Angels are noble but cursed by a terrible bloodthirst. Space Wolves are savage, heroic, and fiercely independent. Dark Angels carry ancient secrets. Black Templars are crusading zealots. And this is really just scratching the surface. Something very important to understand, though, is Space Marines are not superheroes. They can be heroic, they can save lives, they can stand against impossible odds. But they are also products of a horrifying war machine. They are child soldiers turned into post-human warrior monks. They exist entirely for war and combat. Nothing else. So if Amazon wants to focus their show around Space Marines, which they might, the key is to not just make them look really cool. They need to make them feel awe-inspiring and frightening and kind of inhuman. They shouldn't be,
because they are not human.
I touched
basically
briefly on Chaos a minute ago, but we'll cover that in a little bit more detail now. If we think of the Imperium as a decaying body of humanity, Chaos is like the infection that's constantly trying to just consume it. It comes from the warp itself. There are 4 major gods within Chaos, or Chaos gods. Khorne, the god of bloodshed, rage, violence, and war.
The red one.
The god of change, ambition, sorcery, and manipulation.
Blue one.
Nurgle, the god of decay, disease, despair, and twisted
Green
endurance.
one.
And Slanesh, the god of excess, obsession.
The weird color purple one.
Chaos isn't just an enemy army. It's temptation, it's corruption, it's the promise that you can get whatever you want if you give up enough of yourself. I'm also going to touch on something called the Inquisition, mainly because there are pretty big rumors that they might be the main focus of the setting, and Henry Cavill may be playing what's called an Inquisitor. The Inquisition is one of the most feared organizations in the
it's like police.
Their job is to protect humanity from threats within, without, and beyond. That could be against heresy, alien influence, demons, mutants, rogue psychers, and more. They have enormous authority.
Yeah.
In theory, they can investigate anyone.
Yeah.
And it makes them kind of fascinating for television. The Inquisitor can literally just walk through any layer of the entire setting, which means we have unrestricted access to our setting.
Yeah.
One episode could involve a murder investigation on a hive world. One could be uncovering a secret chaos cult. And one could even bring in Space Marines or Imperial Guard or alien artifacts or forbidden technology and knowledge. It could be anything. So this is a really strong rumor for a starting point for this universe. While we're on the subject of strong starting points, we may as well talk a little bit about the Imperial Guard, or the Astra Militarum as they are known in the universe.
Most
This is
dangerous
essentially
job in
the humans, the human military within the setting. They are just regular human soldiers, not genetically engineered demigods or massive dudes in power armor.
the cannon
They're just
fodder.
men and women with lasguns and tanks. These are the guys just thrown into the aliens and demons in the millions, just trying to hold them
Billions,
back long
bro.
enough to
Billions.
keep things going. These might work as our main focus because they can be relatable. Through their eyes, we can see just how terrifying and horrific the 41st millennium actually is. If we're looking at this setting through the eyes of a space marine who feels no fear,
Yeah.
it's just not quite the same. Now, one more faction, if you will, to cover before we move on to the final tone is the alien threats. And we'll kind of group these into one group of aliens, I guess. We have orcs, which aren't like the orcs you're used to seeing in things like Lord of the Rings. These are brutal, but funny, violent,
Yeah.
and almost
Orc
impossible
boys.
to completely wipe out. They live for war, and their entire culture revolves around fighting, building ramshackle weapons, getting bigger, and causing destruction on the biggest scale possible. They are great for a bit of comedic relief in this setting. The Eldar, now known as the Eldari, for, trademark reasons, are an ancient, dying race whose civilization collapsed because of their own excess. They are graceful, psychic, tragic, and manipulative, often trying to shape events to prevent even worse futures from happening. They're basically elves. We then have the Drukhari, which are essentially dark elves. Same thing. We have the Tau, who are a relatively new and pretty interesting faction.
They're very much closer to today's humanity.
Idealistic on the surface. Their technology is extremely advanced, and it happened very, very quickly. But their vision of unity under the greater good has its own unsettling edge. Then there are Tyranids, a devouring swarm from beyond the galaxy.
Just
not an
eat
empire,
them.
not a culture, more like
Tyranids is
cosmic
like
predators
hunger
stripping planets of
or
biological
poop.
matter and moving on, operating under one hive mind. Finally, then we have Necrons, which are ancient beings who once ruled the galaxy in a war older than humanity itself. Many have awakened from their tomb worlds after being asleep for millions of years, and they see the younger races as pests, mistakes, or just stolen property. Now, there are more factions out there, but these are kind of the core ones to keep an eye on. All right, now the most important thing that Amazon need to understand when going into this show is the tone. 40K is dark.
Yeah, very
It's not
dark.
as simple as that. There's an underlying
Everything is
tone
bad in
of
that.
satire that's very easy to miss. And I think the important thing here, I touched upon this in a previous video, is to not be embarrassed by what you're adapting. Yes, 40K is gruesome, it's brutal, it's
Why the fuck there is a tataya in my room, bro? There's a wasp in